Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm pleased to introduce Ken Hickling from Superyacht Charities. How are you, Ken?
I'm very good, Ria. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we've spoken. I think the last time we saw each other was back in Pinmar in 2019.
Yeah, that was a normal year, wasn't it? This lockdown 20 year, it's like we're going to get to the end of the year and then somebody's just going to hit the rewind button and we're just going to start a whole fresh new year and it'll be more normal next year.
Well, yeah, I think I'm going to stay awake until midnight just to say goodbye to the old year as opposed to welcoming the new year. I'll be waving adios. But yeah, it's been an interesting one for sure. With we've seen yacht shows being canceled left, right, and center. Postponed and then canceled. And with Super Yacht Charities, you definitely, I mean, last year you had an absolutely stellar year in fundraising. And this year, of course, none of your plans went as planned and most everything was canceled.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, we were going to run our regular annual ball here in Southampton. That was going to be in March. We were looking forward to the Seafarers Supper in Palma, concurrent with the show there. We were looking at putting on a motoring event in the summer in the New Forest. And we kicked off last year with a winter ball, which we were looking at having a second time around in December. All of that's gone. So yeah, we raised over £100,000 last year, and we were looking at kind of kicking on and doing a higher number this year. And every single one of those events has been blown away by the COVID lockdown or the COVID social distancing or whatever COVID restriction there is. It's impacted, and we've been very concerned, not for ourselves. We don't raise the money for ourselves. We don't raise it for our own egos. We raise the money to give it to small charities that really don't have much in the way of fundraising capability of themselves. Big organizations like Oxfam, they're very well organized. They know how to do it. Small organizations with just a few volunteers, 5 or 10 grand's worth of the money that we distribute to them makes a big difference to their annual spend, their annual income, and they've really felt the pinch this year. And again, they don't do it for themselves; they do it for the people that they support. And whether these people are rehabilitating from being in service, or they're suffering from cancer or some other potentially fatal disease, whatever, and they need some respite. These are the charities that this stuff isn't going away. It's still out there, and the charities are less able to support. So we were kind of metaphorically sobbing into our handkerchief a month or two back, and we've been having quiz nights like a lot of people do. And we said, well, it was our treasurer, Glenn Taylor. He said, we need to do something difficult. We need to do a challenge, which in fact takes us back to when we first started. We used to do physical challenges, like we'd spend 24 hours in a life raft, and people would sponsor us to do that and so on. And so we said, yes, what should we do, Glenn? And he said, well, we should do something, maybe with some cycling or that goes on forever. And we decided that we would cover the distance between Southampton, our cancelled event, and Palma, our cancelled event. And that distance is about 140 miles from Southampton to Dover. And we said, okay, we're gonna run that distance. And then we have to get across the water to Calais. And then we also have to get across the water from Barcelona to Mallorca. So that's about 151 miles by sea. So we're going to row that distance. And then we've got to do the main block of land, the mainland in Europe, and a little bit of distance in Palma. And we're going to cycle that distance. So it's kind of a non-swimming triathlon. It's a run, ride, and row challenge, 1,160 odd miles, split between these 3 disciplines. We will do it as a team of 12. We will run as a relay. So at any one time, 3 of the team will be doing the physical stuff, whether they're riding, rowing, or running. And then at the end of the hour, then they will hand over to a next person, like a relay. 3 more people will start doing the stuff, and we'll work our way through the distance. And we hope to do that in less than 30 hours.
Wow.
So starting on the 18th of September, we will head up to Bath. More on that in a moment. And we will hope to finish by well, by dinner time on Saturday, the 19th, we want to go out for dinner. Each team member, and we're looking at a team of 12, is hoping to raise at least £500, which means that the team should be able to raise £6,000. But in addition to that, and this is why we're going to Bath, we also have an event sponsor, which is Jim Marine. Now, for those who don't know, Jim Marine do stuff to do with gyms on super yachts. They do the ergonomic design, they bring in the high-tech equipment, they hook it all up so it connects to your systems and to your various apps like Strava and so on. And so they are the experts in this. And we were chatting with them to see if they'd be interested to be a sponsor. And Ed Thomas, the MD, said, well, yeah, we'd love to sponsor you, but why don't you do it at our showroom in Bath? And we said, well, that'd be cool, because they've got all the kit there set out. Plus, people can watch us through the window because they have a shop front there, and it gives us a chance to do it all in a place. Because we were going to be doing in a kind of a lockdown mode, remotely, logging all our times on the Strava, logging it through a 30-hour Zoom call that we would then stream live on Facebook. Well, we're still going to do that because some of us, me included, don't want to spend a night in a shop exercising, so I should be getting out of my own bed and putting in a cycling stint or a rowing stint and then going back to bed for 3 hours and then getting up again and doing it. But on Saturday, pretty much all of us are going to be in between our various exercise stints. We're going to head on over to Bath, so the whole team will be there on site. And as I say, the thing will be streamed live on Facebook. Anybody will be able to check in and watch us do it. We have got a donation site which is going live on Monday. That's being set up by a company called Donator, who are doing it for free for us because they kind of wanted to help, and they're going to be the just giving of the future. They've got a great platform, super easy, everything's contactless. So instead of people going around collecting, shaking cans, collecting cash, here we are in the we don't want to touch anybody's money mode because of COVID. Well, they have a whole contactless system. You can pay through Apple Pay or Google Pay, and all these totally card-free systems, all seamlessly onto their platform. So we've teamed up in partnership with them to help us get a donation site, and that's we're expecting that to go live tomorrow, Monday. So that's really good for us because that helps. So we're hoping that we can see ourselves to about £8,000 if everybody manages to make that £500 target. If we do a little better, Glenn keeps talking as if 10 grand's a realistic target, but actually here's where the challenge gets interesting. Once we've done this and we've set a time, 28 hours, 29 hours, whatever it is, now the challenge goes public. We are going to invite any yacht crew, any company, any group of friends in the industry to see if they can beat our time and, more importantly, beat our fundraising total. And we will hold that open right up until the Southampton Ball next year in March. Teams anywhere from 9 till 8 or 9, there's a minimum amount. I think 16 is the maximum. Can come together and they can do the challenge. There'll be a guideline sheet that says these are the rules. This is how you do it. This is how you log it. If they can beat our fundraising level, our total that we achieve, then they'll be on the leaderboard on the website, the Superyacht Charities website. If somebody beats them, they'll be on the lead position on the website. So we're hoping that several yacht crews and several businesses and even groups of industry colleagues will get together and try and beat us. There will be a team.
Well, sorry to interrupt, are you going to have age categories? Because I don't think it's fair for some of those out there, considering that you and your team have the advantage of youth, that maybe they won't be able to do as well as you are.
Well, I don't have the advantage of youth, and I'm going to be doing this. But the point is that we will offer a really small trophy for beating our time, but we will offer a really big trophy for beating our fundraising. So the focus will be on who can raise the most funds. Now, if we can raise 6, 7, or 8 grand, then, and if everybody beats us, then that's 6, 7, or 8 grand for each team. If we get 5 or 6, 7, or 8 teams, then we're starting to put together a reasonable amount of money to make up for the money that we didn't raise at the ball. Now, what I should say is that many of the ticket holders and quite a number of the sponsors from the ball donated the money that they had paid for tickets and donated the money they had paid for sponsorship. And we were very clear. We said to everybody, look, if you want your money back, it's not going to hurt us because the venue cancelled and they've given us the money back. So you can have the money back. It's not going to kill the charity or anything. And we know that lots of businesses, a few hundreds and thousands of pounds make a difference right now, particularly at the beginning of the clampdown when people, were trying to preserve cash. But a number of ticket holders and a number of sponsors were very generous and said, actually, we already budgeted for this. It's already spent. We've had our year end. Keep the money. So we have got some money that we can already give to the charities. But if we are successful with this challenge, so not just our own challenges, but if we can engage with some yacht crews and some businesses and some groups of people in the industry, if they can beat our fundraising total, and try and get that super trophy that we're going to be handing out at the ball next March, then we will have gone some way to patch the hole in our fundraising activity, and we can give that money to the charities. And we'll give it to the same charities that we were planning to give the money to at the ball. So and at the Seafarers Supper. So in Palma, it's the Shambhala Foundation and the Yachting Gives Back, which is a relatively new charity. From the Southampton ball, it's the Oceans of Hope and Team Endeavour, Team Endeavour takes ex-servicemen and women out for rehabilitation through motorboating. Previously, we were supporting Turn to Starboard, which does the same thing through sailing, so it's just a kind of a flip there. And Oceans of Hope is taking people with MS out sailing for respite and rehabilitation. So we're going to be giving the money that we raised to these 4 charities and also putting some of it into the Superyacht Charities Action Fund. We maintain a fund that allows us to disperse relatively small amounts of money to lots of little good causes, which can be people from within our industry and others that are in alignment with our charities. We have a set of goals that are stated in our charter. So as long as we're in alignment with that, then we can disperse funds to a variety of different places. So we'll be putting some money into the Superyacht Charities Action Fund.
Wow, that's amazing. And it is such a shame that, all of your fundraising efforts this year were gone. But it's great to see that you have sort of figured a way around that and come up with a great new concept. And, this also sounds like something that even when you do go back to normal and you do have your, events as planned, this is something that you can continue to do for years to come, because it sounds like a really cool challenge and it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And we know that yacht crew, they like to compete against each other and see who can outdo each other. So this could be something that raises money for years and years to come.
I hope so. It's definitely in our minds. Whether it's the exact same challenge next year or whether we think of a different difficult thing to do and set a time and a funding target again anew. But yeah, it's very much something we think, we could do something like this for a few years now. And I think, as you say, if we can engage yacht crew, their competitive spirit, businesses, their competitive spirit, and sometimes it's just groups of industry colleagues that will come together. We think there's a thing here that it's going to be interesting for a few years, as long as we can come up with some interesting challenge and set a new threshold for people to beat. And I think people are going to enjoy. They don't have to sit and watch us for 30 hours, but people will be able to dip in and watch us sweating and working hard and so on. But actually, the idea is that everybody who does it, they will also stream their efforts live. So this will become something that people can view. And we're going to encourage people to check out the performance and details on our superyachtcharities.com website. You'll find some information about this on LinkedIn, and we'll be putting posts up in the coming weeks with some more details, especially about the charities, because people are always interested to know where the money goes.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting stories there. But we'll be on Instagram and Twitter, and we will stream the whole thing live on Facebook. So it'll be listed as a Facebook event that everybody can attend in the modern way.
Well, it's really exciting that you're sort of moving it online, and you are, including every form of social media, because as we all know right now, the entire world is social media, and especially throughout, all the lockdowns, that's sort of where everyone turned to, aside from Netflix, of course. But it's nice to see that you guys are moving forward, and hopefully, you're going to see maybe even outdo last year's numbers.
It would be very cool if the industry really got on board with this. And I know there are loads of other charitable initiatives, and we certainly don't want to be taking away from any of those. But I think there is all the money that we would have raised. Effectively, that's a pent-up demand. Just people talk about this in economic terms, but I think for the charities, it's the same thing. People who have got a bit of spare cash, they're very happy to give it to good causes. And if we can provide that conduit, yeah, we could do very well. I think if we get 10, 12, 13, 15 teams all trying to beat us, yeah, we could beat last year's title, which would be incredible.
Well, I think there's a few companies out there that I'm going to have to send off a challenge to. I'm not going to do it because, well, it's exercise, but I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are going to be more than willing. If you would start a challenge of, who can sit in one spot for the longest, I'd be signing up for that, and I would live stream that.
Yeah, we could do the Sleeping Lions challenge. That'd be great.
I like that one. I'm signing up right now. Well, Ken, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure to put all of the links underneath this interview when it airs, as well as where people can go to donate, how they can participate, or if they can't participate, how they can, support a team member, and sort of where they can watch this as it happens as well. I mean, it's going to be pretty exciting, not to sit there and watch it for 30 hours, but to dip in and out to see how you're all getting along.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be riveting viewing, but I think it'll be interesting in various ways, and we'll be inviting people to interact with us and send messages, and we can pick that up and talk about it. So yeah, it's going to be a live event. It's our first one of its kind, so we're going to get a bunch of things wrong, and we're very happy for people to tell us how to do it better next time. But the only way for them to do that is by them participating as well. So we invite people to do that, and all the help that we're going to get from media platforms like yourselves is going to be very useful. So thanks very much, Ria, for giving us some time to hopefully reach out and explain this to people and give them a bit of a heads up. It's just there's less than 4 weeks to go now.
Well, you know what I'd like to ask you is if during the challenge, if you can catch your breath for, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, we could do an interview during the challenge and get that out there. I think that'd be kind of interesting to see how you do it.
I think that's a brilliant idea. Ed Thomas, as I mentioned him earlier, the MD of Jim Marine, he's got it in his head that we must do sweaty post-exercise, quick interviews, and he's going to be our interviewer in chief. So I think if I get him to connect with you and you guys can work out a little interviewing protocol, I think that would be a very cool thing.
Absolutely, I'm all over that. It'll be great to see, for sure. Well, Ken, thank you ever so much again for your time, and thank you so much to you and the team at Superyacht Charities for all you do for those that need help, really, and funding. It definitely is a worthy cause.
Thank you. Great to chat with you.
Once again, you have been watching Ken Hickling from the Superyacht Charities in regards to the first in a series of fundraising challenges happening in September. Stay tuned here. We will give you more details as time goes on, and hopefully we'll also be able to give you a little update on the day of. You've been watching another episode of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. Tune in again for another episode.